You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unleashed, episode 109. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me this week are...
DFG and Mike.
Holy crap, it's the fucking Birdman!
He's not dead, people.
Holy
But
shit,
he's barely
man.
breathing.
You would not believe how close I came to death, actually.
Did you spit in his face when he told you?
Yeah, I was like, fuck you, dude. No, I had a blood clot in my lung.
Oh, jeez.
And it was fucking like, hey, I could totally die. This could totally kind of suck and kind of get in my way of playing video games. So yeah, that sucked. I'm fine now. I had a really bad viral infection, which agitated what they think was my asthma. So I got to go see. Blair says the word. I can't remember, like a breathologist or whatever, or a lung doctor.
Yeah.
So they're going to check me out and see how my asthma's progressing. It has, unfortunately, gotten worse over this. So, yeah, that totally sucked. But I'm alive now and happy to count myself amongst the living as opposed to among the dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, top that for exciting news.
Kind of reminds me of that old game. You know, oh, he's on the internet. He's in the personal ads. He's on the internet. He's in the personal ads. But Mr. Gill, our records show you're dead. I'm what?
Yeah, it was fucking. Although it sucked though when I first went into the hospital, they had me hooked up to all these machines. Now, occasionally, I use a wheelchair to get around because my knees are garbage, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm in the hospital at one point, and they're wheeling me around to go to x-ray. I find out I don't have to stand up to get x-rays, and I'm thinking, oh my God, technology, isn't it cool? So I go into the x-ray room, and the nurse is like, can you stand up? And I really wanted to say, are you trolling me? Because I'm not sure. Because I'm in a wheelchair. And she asked me, so how did you get in here? I'm like, I point at the chair. Well, I brought my own seat. And I don't think she quite got what was happening. But still, I was like, Jesus Christ, lady, are you fucking blind? How do you miss a 400-pound man in a wheelchair? I'm not exactly not a roadside attraction. So it was fucking garbage, but like I said, I'm relatively healthy now, feeling pretty good. Got a new doctor, and I gotta say, she's the most gorgeous thing on two legs I've ever seen in my life. So she's got to be fresh out of medical school. But now that I'm done quantifying my doctor as a sex object, what is everybody else up to?
Well, let's see. It's been about, I don't know, 5, almost 6 months since my mom passed. And now that I've moved, I'm actually able to go through some of the boxes and the old stuff and everything else. And found this box full of letters that she kept that I had sent her when I was a kid because I had moved here to Kentucky when I was 13. And it just dawns on me that not even my handwriting at 35 years old, I can't even read my own 13-year-old handwriting. It wasn't bad handwriting. It really shocks me how far the technology comes. Does anyone even write letters to anybody anymore? I mean, it's either email or text or Twitter or Facebook or Snapchat or Skype or what. I mean, and this is only 20 some odd years ago that, you know, these letters were written, and it's like, oh my God, what is happening to our society?
Well, you think about it, letters are virtually dead anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, what's
so
the
are
point?
Magazines, but my point is like, oh my God, this was 20, 25 years ago that we were all writing letters. This is before the internet. The only way you could, you know, outside of a phone call, the only way you could get in touch with anyone is by writing them a letter or mailing. Like if you had to pay a rent or whatever, you had to mail the check in. There, I mean, yeah, sure, there was credit cards and stuff back in the day, but
fax machine maybe.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my god, I'm getting so old. I know I'm only 35, but I just feel a hell of a lot older than that. On top of that, I got 2 different telemarketer calls this week. So I've added all my numbers to the Kentucky No Call list since I've gotten mostly all new phone numbers. Thankfully, the Skype number isn't affected. Still added it anyway. But anyway, so this one, I'm like, somebody, it wasn't a telemarketer, it was some bill collector or something, but calling for someone named Colleen. So I called the place back and I'm like, yeah, that person doesn't live here. You need to take this number off your list. The first time I've ever really called any of these people back. The second one was about 8 hours ago as of this recording. So I got into the telemarketer call this morning. Hi, my name is, I say, you have the wrong number. They say, okay, good, and hang up. It's like, what the hell?
Well, fucking A, I don't have to do my job today.
You'd think, I mean, because I did telemarketing for a while for a finance company back in the day. You'd think, I mean, those people live off of the leads and the commissions. You'd think they wouldn't say good when I say you got the wrong number. I love the ones now where, I mentioned this the other day on Facebook, I love the ones now where it's a friggin' automated system. Hi, this is not a sales call. Yes, it is.
Yeah, you lying bastard.
Yeah, but would you be interested in it? But like, you just said this wasn't a sales call, yet it's a sales call. Yet you sound like the HAL 9000. What the hell is wrong with you? It's like they don't even care to employ people to do telemarketing anymore. It's like it's like Hardak has taken over everything. So
if I don't recognize the number, I don't pick it up. That's just plain and simple.
See, my favorite is getting the calls from India. And they're like, hello, my friend. Your computer has a virus. Oh, really? Well, let's talk. And my goal is to keep them on the phone as long as possible, just so I'm wasting their time, and clearly mine, because I got nothing else going on today. I think my record is 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Wow.
And I just completely screwed with them. I'm like throwing them all these stupid lines. My favorite is, I'm like, let me type out my password. IAMWASTINGYOURTIME. Can you read that back to me? And they're like, they're like, oh, fuck you. See you later, dickhead. Oh, so much fun. I'm such a prick. But I'm like, really, guys? Like, who falls for this? Like, I have a computer virus. Oh, and thank you. Oh, Mr. Savior of humanity. Whatever would I have done without you? And Norton fucking antivirus. Oh, what a fucking twat. But yeah, so I love getting those calls. Or my wife will just straight up tell them off. Or my other favorite tactic is sometimes they'll call my Skype line. Mm-hmm. And I happen to be sitting at the computer. Mm-hmm. So what I'll do is I'll route sound through the board, because I have my like audio board set up next to my computer, and I will pump through YouPorn into the speakers at them, so they get to listen to people having autoerotic asphyxiation and or anal sex. If you're gonna bother me, I'm gonna bother you.
I used to do that, not what you're talking about, but taking it through the speakers. I used to do that with Disturbed song Down with the Sickness every time I would get one of those calls. Let's see, what else have I been up to this week? Watched Flash and Arrow, so saw those. Let's see.
What was with your comment about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this week?
Oh, Agents of Shit constantly getting it wrong.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, so
good.
Okay,
it was about the Sokovia.
No, yeah, but see, here's the thing. My buddy Optibotamus, who is this famous YouTuber out in California or whatever, he started making comments on Twitter about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and making comments about how they got something wrong with the name of something or whatever else, and instead of just tagging him on Twitter, I just made it a general statement: agents of shit constantly getting stuff wrong. Come on now, you stir the pot all the time with stuff, Mike. Why can't I have a little fun too?
Well, to my knowledge, S.H.I.E.L.D. has not gotten that many things wrong. In fact, I can't even recall something that they've really gotten wrong. But then again, MCU is different from Marvel 616 and even the Ultimate Universe, so that's a whole different nerd conversation for a whole different day.
Yep. So, for the first time in 14 years, I saw my dad today. So that went well.
I take it you guys don't get along or something? Or
No, it's a
complicated,
long, drawn-out history I will tell you off air, but, what was I going to do almost 6 months ago when my mom died? Who else was I going to call? I have no other family members here in Kentucky. 90% of my family is still up in Massachusetts. My Uncle Richard is down in Georgia. So it's like my dad's over in Indiana, so I might as well, call him and let him know that my mom had died. And, that was 5 or 6 months ago, and planned, and it just never worked out. And then I obviously had to move and whatever else. So I'm like, oh, well, I got a new apartment. You want to come over and hang out, and maybe you can help me put this stupid bookcase together because I couldn't get the damn hinge things for the shelves on the the inside part of it by the back of the damn thing. It's this old wooden bookcase my Uncle Patrick had built for my mom like 30 years ago. So yeah, no, we had it was a good visit. It was a good talk. It was, catching up and whatever else. So that was pretty good. It's just the time aspect. The last time I actually saw him was 2001 during Christmas time.
Jesus, man.
Yeah. But I'll tell you the rest of it off air. What about you, Steve? What are you up to?
Tell me it's happier than what we've been going through.
Any more softballs to the face?
What?
His kid hit him in the eye last week with his head.
Well, I guess
no,
better
it wasn't
than
last week. You're like weeks behind, dude.
Yeah, I know.
That was like a month ago.
Yeah.
No, he hasn't been doing that. Although he's like full of energy, and there's like no reason why he has that much energy, which
youthful exuberance.
I don't know how he has energy. I don't even have energy. Not anymore. Yeah, they drain you of it. But no, I've been, as everybody knows, going to school and whatever. I'm taking these two classes. I got media history and theory and media aesthetics. Two of the most boring freaking classes I have ever taken. It makes my business classes sound fun. And I hated those. And my main peeve with that is there's no reason why they shouldn't have been online classes. Just because we do a lecture which is based on his PowerPoints. We were supposed to read the book. I take pride in not reading. And passing anyway. And then I have to sit there and listen. I mean, I pay attention to the PowerPoints, but once he goes into the realm of watching videos and documentaries, I just don't give a shit, so I tune out. And I've been sleeping during the documentaries because they're just...
Are they bad documentaries? Or?
They're not bad. I can't watch a documentary for the same reason I can't watch a DVD commentary. They put me to sleep. I can't stand... it's not that the information isn't pertinent or interesting. It's the fact that I can't sit there and pay attention to something that's not a written TV show for more than 20 minutes. So I tune out. And like today, and I know this is going to be blasphemous to people that watch, movies and everything of all different sorts, but today's documentary was on the history and the filmmaking processes of Stanley Kubrick, to which It was interesting what I did see of some of it, but it seemed like it dragged on for so long.
Was it the Room 237 documentary?
I have no idea. I wasn't conscious for the beginning of it, so it had like people like Spielberg and like all these other guys talking about him, and Jack Nicholson and everybody that's worked with him over the years. It looked like it was made about 10 years ago.
I think I know which doc you're talking about then.
But it bored the shit out of me. And like both my classes, we have to watch documentaries. The history and theory one is worse because it's going back to the beginning of media's inception of when they created the radio stations, when they created the movie studios, when they created so you're going back to the original start of the formatting, which don't get me wrong, a lot of it I kind of already knew because we've covered stuff like that on GCR.
Mm-hmm.
So like the cassette and the audio formats all the way from inception to streaming online, and same thing with videos. So I mean, I'm familiar with a lot of the stuff that we talked about in there. So like again, the documentaries just put me to sleep. Now when it was the video game documentary thing we had to watch, yeah, that had my full attention because it was stuff that I don't know entirely a lot about. I know some about it, but it's more interesting to me because it's within the last 30 years. Mm-hmm. You get before 1980, I just don't give a rip. It's just something with me. I tune out. And it's horrible to say that because it's not like it's all bad content. It's just I'm bored easily with that. So that being said, I recently got Adobe Premiere CC 2015, which is actually nice. The only reason I got it was because I'm editing that short film for class that was last semester's project, but we have to get it completely done before the teacher goes over it with us in a couple weeks, and then we get it scored by the music department, and I've talked about this ad nauseum, but it's we had to do. He told us, yeah, we want you to get your movie studios, like your mock studios, in there for the beginning and the outro and everything else, and there were 5 different groups that were participating in part of our group. That's how we had the audience. So we had to list some of their production studios. So I of course have a graphic for mine. 2 of the other guys have a graphic for theirs. Then the other 2 didn't have graphics at all. They're like, oh, just throw the text in there of the name of the thing. And I'm like, no. There needs to be a graphic. Because it just looks amateurish and kind of shitty. So I made them their own graphics for their organizations. One of them doesn't know it yet. Well, I guess they'll just kind of see when it happens. So I did that, and then I bought the domain for the one that I used for my project. Again, which I had years ago. I just let it lapse, and it's been about 3-4 years since I had it, but I bought it again, and I got it because they had a special going where you got a free domain if you signed up on something, and I had to pay the 18 cents ICANN registration, and that was it for a year. So I was like, yeah, that's easy, and then I threw it on there, rebuilt the site, and then moved around all my subdomains and everything else. So yeah, I got the information on the movie that we were doing on there a little bit, and I got the film fully edited. I just need to get it okayed and get the soundtrack in, and then they'll play it at a film fest in December. So
cool.
Thankfully, I'm finally done with that. And then it's just been other kinds of, well, I was going to say this for the end of the show, but we are doing the GCRN Top 100 television shows.
Yep.
Yes, we bypassed the video game one this year and went straight to the TV shows. We're going to do the video games next year.
Yep.
So, should be interesting to see what comes out of this. I'm almost scared.
The greatest show of all time is Gilligan's Island.
I would laugh, but I'm guessing it's not actually going to make it in the top 10.
That's witchcraft, man.
Because apparently Simpsons and Family Guy and South Park all count.
Oh, I guess because they are animation.
Because they're during
TV.
They're prime
yeah, because
time.
they're on prime time. So that's why they included them, even though they were in the top 100 animated series.
Did Family Guy and South Park make it into the top 100 animated
They
series?
did.
I would hope so.
They did.
Remember.
It would be a bullshit list if it didn't. They're not my favorite shows in the world, but they are relevant at times.
South
Man,
Park's
actually, South Park has been amazing this season so far.
Well, South Park, I mean, I haven't caught any of it because I haven't had cable in like 4 years. But from what I've gathered and what I saw back in the day, they always were on top of pop culture and media references faster than any other show. You know, Simpsons is always like 6 months behind, and Family Guy is like 2 months behind. And
well, South Park can turn around an episode in 6 days.
Yep.
Which is actually spectacular.
Oh, yeah. Like, there were times where they finished an episode about 20 minutes before it went to air. Which is amazing. They're like, shit, it's ready, let's go. The fact that Matt Parker and Trey Stone put so much work into it, it blows my mind. And they are fucking geniuses.
You might want to rethink that. It's Trey Parker and
Matt Stone. I always get those mixed up. I always do.
What do you say, person. Trey Parker and Matt Stone?
No, he said the opposite. Matt Parker and Trey Stone.
That's it. I'm a terrible person. I'm worse than Hitler.
I wouldn't go that far. He's,
Well, yeah.
At least you don't want to kill yourself over being James Bond again.
You know what? Well, considering how much physical work they got to put you through, I don't blame Daniel Craig for being, man, fuck this noise.
If he wants to say fuck this noise, that's fine. Just don't say you're going to commit suicide over getting another opportunity.
Is that what he actually said?
He said, I would rather kill myself than play James Bond again.
Wow.
After Spectre. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find the thing.
I think
that is just horrible.
I think the exact quote was like, I'd rather slit my wrist with broken glass or something. It was something really like, whoa, buddy.
That's just...
You guys talk about something else. Let me see if I can find this.
It was pretty freaking hardcore.
That's just freaking wild.
I know nothing about Spectre coming out. In fact, I've kept myself so in the dark about the new James Bond. I know Batista's in it, and that's about it.
I don't know anything about it other than the fact of what I saw in the trailers.
And Blofeld is the bad guy, not the bad guy. They're like, it's not Blofeld, it's fucking Blofeld.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, guys. I mean, it's like trying to tell me John Harrison was not fucking Khan for Star Trek. Like, fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
You mean like not saying that Kylo Ren's going to be Luke Skywalker or Anakin Skywalker?
Or, you know what? Well, they've already shown Kylo Ren without his fucking hood up. So it's probably like Skywalker's first kid or something stupid like that.
Well, you know what's funny? They're gonna resurrect Hayden Christensen for Episode 8.
See, I am probably one of the few people that likes Hayden Christensen. I liked him in Revenge of the Sith. I didn't
mind him as older Anakin.
Yeah, when he was less Padawan-y pussy, he was okay. And as long as George Lucas wasn't writing his fucking dialogue, he was okay. Now, where did I put that bag of Lego?
Okay, Spectre, the 24th James Bond movie, hits theaters in fall 2015, more than 50 years after the first film in the popular series, Dr. No. Spectre stars Daniel Craig as 007, returns from Christoph Waltz, Monica Bellucci, Lisa Beck, and others. But basically, you're right, Steve. He said, I'd rather slit my wrist than play James Bond again. But that's still a form of suicide. I mean, someone can slit their wrist and die from that if you cut deep enough. I mean, it just...
It's maybe a little farther than maybe what he needed to say.
Yeah, it's like,
Like, Jesus, don't throw millions of dollars at me. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, no, okay, you played your part, you done your shit, fuck off.
He's like, I don't like money, leave me alone.
It's like Michael Bay not coming out and just, diving into the dump truck full of money that they throw at him for Transformers 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Well, what's funny is they're like, we're not saying that he's going to direct, but we're not saying he's going to direct.
Yeah. Honestly, what they should do is get the guy who directed the last Fast and the Furious movie.
James Wan?
Yeah, get him to do it.
He's going to be
And maybe have
MacGyver
Michael
reboot.
Bay direct the action sequences.
Did you see that other news, though, about Wan? He's going to be doing a MacGyver reboot film, supposedly.
Man, well, I'm glad that show's supposed to be coming back to TV. I think that's kind of cool.
I don't know. There are just so many stories in the last couple of weeks that I've seen that just are making me really question what the hell the world has come to more than I usually do.
Like, God damn it, if we can get MacGyver, where the fuck is my Sliders and Airwolf reboot? I demand Jerry O'Connell on my TV yet again.
Well, now that, sadly, this is a few years ago, but now that Glenn A. Larson has passed away, we'll probably never get a proper Knight Rider movie.
Who is that guy?
Glenn A. Larson, the creator of Knight Rider.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm just waiting for the new Alf series.
I wonder what that's going to be like. Well, you know what I think would be great? If somehow they got Alf to guest star on The Muppets.
Yeah.
It's time to get this crap started.
See, I don't mind the new Muppet Show. I think it's actually not half bad.
I don't find it entertaining. I tried watching it.
How many episodes?
I watched one.
Give it 5.
It's the style.
It's the style he doesn't like.
I don't like the style. It's the same reason. And well, this is a nice little tangent point, and actually better than jumping into some of the articles. No, actually, it kind of works. Last week,
we talked about this.
We talked about it. Well, because somewhat, and I was talking about because we were talking about the channels that have shows that we watch, and I said basically that ABC has garbage.
The Goldbergs.
I threw that on my garbage list. I don't like any of those shows.
You're worse than Hitler, Steve.
You are Hitler. You slay the people beneath your feet. I'm joking. I basically said that the only shows I like that are on ABC are like Shark Tank, Last Man Standing, and Once Upon a Time. Other than that, I could give two shits about... And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I could give two shits about ABC other than that. And in the comments, there were, like, Brad Lincoln says, I have to disagree with you guys, saying that ABC doesn't have any good shows, and then he mentions Modern Family, saying that it's better than Last Man Standing. The Middle has its moments. Goldberg's is highly underrated. And then he, brought up Castle, Scandal, and How to Get Away with Murder, among other things. And then...
my wife watches How to Get Away with Murder, and it seems okay. There's another show. I think it's ABC. I'm almost sure of it. It's a show called Quantico. It's about FBI agents in training. Mm-hmm. It's not half bad. I've watched like an episode and a half. I'm thinking, well, you're not totally stupid, and I don't like crime procedural shows as a rule, but this isn't bad. I don't watch anything on CBS, although I plan on watching Supergirl, and that comes out in like a few weeks.
The only thing I watch on there right now on CBS is Big Bang Theory, and I plan on watching Supergirl because it looks very promising.
I watch CBS, it's hit or miss. I'll say this.
Oh, Survivor. I watch Survivor.
See, I don't watch reality shows, so.
I made a choice 15 years ago. When Survivor and Big Brother came out at the same damn time, they released their first episodes like a month apart or something. It was like, you can either watch the show where you're outside and eating bugs, or you can watch the show where you're inside and you have to eat slop when you do something wrong. I'm like,
fair enough. They didn't do slop until season 6, to be fair.
Okay, well, you know what I mean. I'm just saying, in 2000, when those two shows happened, I was presented with a choice, and I did watch the first season of Survivor when Richard Hatch won. After that, I was done. I was Big Brother all the way after that. For CBS, for me, I'm going to watch Supergirl. I watch Big Bang. They have a quote-unquote continuation series from a film They have Bradley Cooper's Limitless as a new TV series this season.
That seems like an interesting idea. I'm recording it, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet either. I have they offered the pilot for free on iTunes, and I have that.
I'm gonna put this out there, and then this goes along with that Minority Report. They're both gonna get canceled because they're based on a movie.
Yeah, probably.
Minority Report. They film in Toronto, and they try and paint it as the future. Like, no, that's fucking Yonge Street, dude. That doesn't work.
I'll say this: since CSI began, CSI Vegas or whatever, the original one with Grissom with William Peterson. Since that show began, X number of however the hell many years ago it began, that was the only one I cared about at the time. And I haven't even watched all of that show, but that was the only CSI I cared about. When Miami came along, I didn't give a crap. When New York came along, I didn't give a crap. When Cyber came along last year, I was like, ooh, this is kind of cool because it's dealing with all the stuff we see on the internet now about internet crime and different ways for cyber terror. It amazes me, so I watched that. But ABC, I find they had, and again, this is stuff we talked about last week, but I find that every 5 or 6 years they have one or two damn good shows that really intrigue me. Alias was one of those shows. Revenge was one of those shows. That kind of thing. So ABC, when it comes to like the dramas or the procedurals or whatever, has always been really hit or miss. And their comedies for me just... Ever since TGIF went away, ABC comedy. Ugh.
Well, I like Last Man Standing.
Okay,
but that's because
yeah.
It feels like a 90s show stuck in modern day.
My thing is, I love the Goldbergs, but I may be biased because I'm friends with Adam Goldberg. But at the same time, I appreciate the writing in that show because I relate so much to it.
Mm-hmm.
That and I honestly think that show has the most brilliant casting on TV right now. The woman that plays Beverly Goldberg, Wendy, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She was on Reno 911. She deserves an Emmy nomination for Best Supporting Actress in a comedy series because she is fucking brilliant. And Jeff Garlin as Murray Goldberg as the father. He's also really good. There's also the other kid on the show. His name's Troy Gentile. He plays Adam's older brother, Barry. This kid's going to be a breakout star. I promise you. This kid is so funny. He has this great sense of comedic timing, and just the way that he pulls off the role as Barry, as this lovable friggin' moron, is amazing. Like, honestly, like, I think they said at the ABC Upfronts or something recently, they're like, the Goldbergs is a show we intend on running for a long time. And I hope it becomes one of those ABC kind of dynasty shows where it carries on for at least 5 or 6 seasons, as long as the writing remains strong.
Yeah. See, that's the other thing. 2 things that surprise me about television nowadays. When shows don't last because of ratings or whatever, and then the fact that some shows last 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 or 13 years.
Yeah.
That really surprises me at times.
Well, there are certain shows I'm surprised that should have been successful and weren't. Like an example I would go with is go back to the early 2000s, and Fox had a massive success with the X-Files, and it all had a shared universe because X-Files existed in the same continuity as The Lone Gunman, but they also existed in the same continuity as what the hell was it? Had Lance Henriksen in it. Millennium existed in that same universe too, and technically it crossed over with another show called Harsh Realm, but I don't know whether that was official or unofficial. Right. And you'd think The Lone Gunman would have been really successful because those characters, Langley, Byers, and Frohickey, were amazingly funny. They had great chemistry together, and now the X-Files making a comeback in just over 2 months. Like, I'm really hoping maybe that can be a resurrection to maybe get another short spark series. And maybe because I think we've touched upon this before, but having shortened seasons that maybe have higher production values of older shows Maybe that's the future in some ways. I mean, each fall, yeah, you'll get something new, but maybe you'll get an old show coming back for a 13-episode run or something. Like, one show I'm surprised that made it back, but I'm glad it did. And you can thank things like The Flash and Arrow and Gotham for this. It's Heroes.
Yep, I knew you were going to go that way.
Yeah, and that's cool. And I like the fact that time has still kept going in that universe, because technically this is like season 10 of Heroes. And I'm thinking, all right, that's cool. I'm okay with that. And I'm thinking what other shows I'd like to see them do that with. One show I'd like to see them bring back is, like I mentioned this just before, I hate this word because I can never say it. Millennium. I would love to see Frank Black's career 15, 20 years later. What's happened to him and the group and the people who wanted to start that apocalyptic virus bullshit or whatever. Even if it was like a TV movie, I'm pretty sure Lance Henriksen would come back and do it. Or maybe give me a Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV series. Even if it was like 5 or 6 episodes. Well, give me 5 or 6 episodes and have the comics be continuity. Or maybe have
the
Angel.
Comics are continuity.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Count them as canon in with the show and have them reference that shit. Or maybe give me an Angel TV movie.
Yeah, I don't see that's the problem with Buffy and Angel, because with IDW's stuff, they've like Angel season 6 trade paperback is coming out this coming Wednesday, the 14th from IDW, and that picks up. It collects the stories that were originally published X number of whatever the hell years ago. That picks up right where it's essentially Angel season 6 in comic form. So it picks up the story at the end of Not Fade Away. So I don't know how they could, maybe if they, once those stories are told, they could find a gap point, I guess you could call it, and then maybe, but I honestly don't think Joss Whedon is ever going to come back to Buffy and Angel.
I don't think he'll come back to television as a whole. He's been burned way too many times.
Yeah.
Because he's had, like, Firefly obviously blew up in his face. Dollhouse wasn't a huge success. And everything he's tried has been like, eh.
Every time anyone mentions Firefly, all I think of is Sheldon Cooper and the damn roommate agreement. Friday nights will be reserved to watch Joss Whedon's new show, Firefly. Does that really have to be in the agreement? Well, I might as well settle it now. It's going to be on for years.
That makes me so sad.
I know, right? Speaking of Sheldon Cooper, and I don't mean to hijack the show, Steve, but I was watching, I don't know, somehow I got watching Inside the Actors Studio again.
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay, so recently Jim Parsons was on Inside the Actors Studio with James Lipton. And
I'm God.
What?
He goes, I'm God.
Oh, yeah. And he tells this story about this play that he was doing on Broadway called I Am God or whatever it is. And I was like, wow, I really need to see this. I would love to see this thing. It's called, it's called An Act of God. It's a new comedy that was on Broadway. What I'd like to know, and I'd like some of the listeners, people like Brad Lincoln and Epicurious and whoever the hell else is going to comment on this episode, what I want to know is, after a Broadway run of a play, after it's done, after it's got its acclaim and got its money back or whatever else, why do they not put the damn things on DVD? Because I would love to watch Jim Parsons in An Act of God.
You know what? It actually comes down to how screen actors define themselves from theater actors. It's a lot of performance because there's something you lose part of the performance by not being in the audience. Mm-hmm. And as opposed to watching it on TV, because actors on the stage have to overact, so to speak, so you can hear or see the emotion in them a little bit more than, say, a television actor who has the camera on them all the time. So I can see why they don't do that, because I used to ask the same question. I'm like, well, why don't they put Evil Dead the musical out on fucking DVD? I would so buy that. Mm-hmm. And that's why they don't do it, because it's kind of an actor's thing, as far as I understand.
Well, hopefully Steve will put the link in the in the show notes to this Inside the Actor Studio episode with Jim Parsons, because it was just amazing seeing, because how they did it was they have different clips from different things that he's done, and when they got to an act of God, just seeing the stuff that, I mean, this is Jim Parsons, people. This is Sheldon friggin' Cooper saying stuff as God. It's like, oh my God, this is awesome.
There was a special, for some reason I couldn't sleep last night, so I was up till like noon today. And I watched this comedy special, and it's done by Eugene Merman. He plays Gene on Bob's Burgers. Go on Netflix and check this out. There's one story, and he tells in it, and I was wondering if he was full of shit. No, he's not. So at one point last year, he got a parking ticket from the city or from New Hampshire or something, right? Evidently, you can't back into a like parking spot for some reason. This is like a state law or something.
Yeah.
And he got fined $15, and he's like, "Okay, well that's fucking stupid, but okay." So he paid it, and he tells a lot more to it. But the punchline is, you know how in tourist towns they have those little guidebooks that tell you where to eat, what to see and do?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's like, well, I want to write a letter to your town. Will you publish it for me? And they're like, yeah, sure. So he writes the letter, and it's like, your town sucks for the following reasons. And he goes into these things, and it's his sense of humor. The one newspaper's like, or the one tourist guy's like, no, we're not going to print that. But a rival one that happens to be in the next town over is like, okay. So he took out a full-page ad, and one of the lines in it was, and I quote, "Fuck you, don't take my money." And then God said, "This is fucking bullshit." But seriously, like, you need to look up, I'm not doing the act any justice, but I saw it this morning at like 6 o'clock this morning, and I was in fucking hysterics over this thing. And I'm just surprised how funny that guy, because he's so deadpan in delivery, but he's so funny. And then he randomly married people in the audience and made up their own vows. One of them was like, and you promise to always ask before doing stuff to my butt. I do. Stuff like that. So it was pretty amusing. Like I said, I'm not doing it any justice because I suck right now, but it's worth checking out if we're going to talk about comedians. Well, that brought the show to a screeching halt. Thanks, guys.
Yes, it did. Alarm bells should be going off.
Or crickets.
Crickets, yeah.
Well,
alrighty.
Actually, sorry, Steve, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think we should take a quick break and then come back after that.
Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
Want to interact with the show? You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. You can email us feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on geekcastradio.com or alteredgeek.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter @Altered Geek. Look for us every week on geekcastradio.com, of course, Stitcher Smart Radio, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and alteredgeek.com. And now, back to the show.
And we're back. Alrighty, I believe you were going to talk about something before we went for break about Halloween?
Yeah, I was about to say, now that it's October, the month of my birth, no less, so clearly you're all blessed. Now that it's kind of getting closer to Halloween, I'm kind of wondering what people are doing to kind of get into the mood and the swing of things. Like, are you watching scary movies, TV shows, maybe reading books or comics about it? This morning, in my random insomniac state, I decided to give the Evil Dead reboot from 2013 another chance. I'm surprised just how well that movie was actually pulled off. brutal as shit, but I really dig the atmosphere in it. Now, maybe it's because I was watching it in the dark, and there were a few moments that are genuinely unsettling in it. But, yeah, that's the first scary movie I've watched this October. And my buddy Andrew Roebuck from Twig posted up on his Facebook how he's watching Fred Decker's Night of the Creeps, which is one of my favorite all-time 80s movies. You should totally check it out if you get a chance. It's got Tom Atkinson in it. He plays a police detective, and one of his catchphrases through the entire movie is "Thrill me." And it's an amazing piece of 80s cheese that cannot be missed. Also, the same guy who did the Monster Squad from back in the day and RoboCop 3. And then he never did movies again. He did some television shows, but those were the only 3 movies he ever made.
Really?
Tragic career that was entirely too short.
Wouldn't have happened if he went into another part of filmmaking. But...
Yeah, well, if he made pornos with zombies and RoboCop, I'd be down for it. Fighting Frankenstein.
That would just be weird.
It'd be the best movie ever.
It'd be hilarious, but it'd be weird. So yeah, to answer that, I haven't really started watching any yet, and I think it's more so to do with the fact that I just one, we've been so freaking busy, just haven't gotten to it, but I'm kind of in that predicament that I remember every movie I watch. My wife doesn't, so like it's more so whatever one she picks at any given point. Mm-hmm. I have this weird memory that I can remember everything I watch. So I haven't really gotten into any. I mean, some of my favorites are like the old school, like Nightmare on Elm Streets, and yeah, I don't like that many of the newer stuff, like unless it's like Saw or something like that.
See, I like the first 3 Saw movies, then it just became the same thing over and over again. That, and although I will say Jigsaw is an awesome villain. Tobin Bell brung such a menace to that. Plus, he has that creepy as fuck voice. So
I think they also realized they screwed up when they killed him off.
Yeah, like, oh shit, he's not as interesting. Fuck.
And then they were like, flashbacks. We can fix it with flashbacks.
Just no, you can never fix a movie with flashbacks.
Yeah, that's pretty much how they ruin everything. Although the only thing that it works like flashbacks work really well with is shows on the CW.
Well, one show they're actually going to experiment with it this week is The Walking Dead premieres on Sunday. It's a 2-hour episode. Half of it's going to be in black and white as a flashback that tells the events before the episode starts, and it deals with Rick and the group dealing with a whole swarm of walkers that are trapped in like this fucking quarry outside the Alexandria safe zone. And it's supposed to be super friggin' intense. And I could see that working. Hey, and there's a show for Halloween people should definitely check out. Actually, you know what show surprised me this year?
What?
Fear the Walking Dead. Once that show got about 2 or 3 episodes in, it started to get really good. The last 2 episodes were fantastic. I can't wait for that show to come back like next year. Like, I'm actually super hyped for it. And I like the fact that it's the zombie apocalypse literally as it starts. You can see civilization falling apart as opposed to, oh, look, they're already dead. And, I like the fact that it's drawn out.
Yeah, I mean, I would find that more entertaining than the actual Walking Dead. The whole zombie thing just doesn't do anything for me.
I might recommend, if you can sit through the 6 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead.
I've watched half of them already, just because they were already playing when my wife fell asleep. So
I'd say the last 2 are the best of the season. And
so it's only a 6-episode season?
Yeah, because they didn't know whether they were going to get picked up, and then it tested really, really, really strong. They're like, oh, well, I guess we'll get a 13 episode second season. So that'll premiere at some point next year.
Okay.
So I'm pretty hyped for it. Like I said, I was very, very impressed with it. Why the fuck is Mr. Rogers talking to a gorilla? Sorry, I just saw this random picture on my Facebook, and I'm just trying to figure that out. Anyway,
Grodd. It's Grodd.
it is just welcome to my neighborhood, neighbor. So should we address where Blanchard went, or should we we'll let people listen to the end of the show?
The end of the show's fine. And it's even funnier because it'll be out of context. So, no one will actually know. I will say that it's NSFW, so.
Yeah, and I'm actually not that. Oh, who the fuck am I kidding? Yes, I am. I'm not really that perverted. No, I really am.
I know.
I'm basically Stifler from American Pie. Like, truthfully, I'm a walking hormone. I'm a terrible person.
Yeah, we still have a lot of clips left over from you during Headshot.
Oh, good times.
Yeah, where you did the multiple Red Bulls and so on.
Oh, man, that was a good time.
Yeah, I still have the recordings. Blanchard caught those, though. This time we got him. So, yeah, any good games you've been playing lately?
Actually, yeah. I actually just finished my review for Mad Max on the Xbox One. Not a bad game if you can get it for less than $30. I know on PC it's like $30. It's totally worth that. I've been playing through Rock Band 4. I'm almost done the career mode. I'm surprised how much they've taken out of it compared to Rock Band 3. It genuinely surprised me. It's very, very bare bones. I mean, it's still a fun experience, but I'll have that review next week. Transformers Devastation, I'm probably going to play as soon as I get off air here. And I did my first raid tonight with Destiny and the Taken King with my friends Scotty, and I don't remember what his buddy's name was, but it was a lot of fun though. So that's what I've been playing recently, and I should have my review copy of Halo 5 the beginning of next week. Nice. So really looking forward to that. So I'll probably be under embargo and witchcraft for about a week and a half. But that'll be pretty fun. So that's what I've been playing recently.
The only game I've been playing a lot lately is the Battlefield 4. And that's pretty much really the only game I've been playing lately. Although I do have the beta for Battlefront downloading right now.
Yes, the Star Wars one. I'm probably going to download that too.
I have no idea what is involved with the game itself. Like, I have no idea what the premise is or how the gameplay is. I'm just downloading it because I want to try it out. It's
basically Battlefront, but with blasters and walkers. Which is to say it's fun, but there is no campaign mode. It's only multiplayer, which I think kind of sucks, but
well,
it's EA, so maybe there'll be DLC.
Well, I mean, I'm playing Battlefield 4 and I haven't played any of the solo game. I've been playing online only. So, which a year ago you would have never heard me saying I'm enjoying an online game. Just because like I was from that, that time of Diablo 3, it sucks you got to log in on the internet to play. And I haven't played the game in like a year. But I keep it up to date in case I want to play it at some point, but I don't ever play it. But I mean, Battlefield 4 is probably the first game I've actually actively tried playing online, and then I play it week to week, a couple days a week. I'm batshit terrible, but there's so many better people on there than me. I'm good at blowing. Like I have the gift of the accidental blow up. In that I set a claymore or something in a doorway intentionally, or in a hallway intentionally, and usually it's right when I get shot and killed, and then they run through it and kill themselves. Just because I've set it right behind me and they don't see it, they're too busy blowing my brains away in the game, and then I intentionally get a kill right after that. So I keep even up with the death and kill scores. But I'm pretty good at blowing up tanks and all that other stuff too, and helicopters, because I'm good at hiding. I stay around the good players, and then I'm the suppression. So, but yeah, I mean that's really the only game. I'm looking forward to trying out Battlefront. I like I said, it'll be something new, and I haven't played a Star Wars game since Pod Racer.
Last good one I played was Republic Commando, which I appreciate more now that I'm better at first-person shooters than I did then.
I can tell you this though, if the game were on a 360, I'd be a hell of a lot better. And I've tried playing Battlefield on the PC with the Xbox controllers. Just doesn't work.
It's not the same because the frame rate is different. It's little things affect your gameplay more than people realize.
Yeah, and I noticed that, and so I ended up going back to using the keyboard and mouse, and then just upping the sensitivity of the mouse so that I can move faster in the game. And because I played Unreal Tournament 3 on both PC and the Xbox 360, and I'm good on both, like really good. But it's a whole different mechanic in gameplay style. Plus, I've gotten really good at maneuvering with the controller on the 360, whereas on the PC I'm good at doing the keyboard and mouse. But I almost think that I'm better on the 360 with that game. But Battlefield, like I said, I tried it. It doesn't work very well for me.
I will say I'm looking forward to Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I've been watching videos on that, getting myself ready. I now know what's been buffed and what's been nerfed ahead of the release. That game should be going gold if it hasn't been already. So hyped for that. Actually, I got the Juggernog edition for that game, which comes with the little mini refrigerator, which is currently selling between $2,000 and $600 on eBay.
Oh, wow.
It's fucking ridiculous. If I need to pay off my fucking credit card, maybe I'll sell it. It's so stupid people are paying that. But, hey, you do what you got to do. So, I guess that's pretty much about it, eh?
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to talk about the Arkham Knight's coming back to PC in October, this month. But
only like 4 months after it broke.
Yeah, and it's still not completely fixed.
Well, they better be giving anybody who bought the PC version the season's pass for nothing.
I would hope so.
The DLC for that game has been inconsistent as fuck. The Batgirl stuff was pretty cool. I haven't played Nightwing's one where the Penguin breaks out of jail. I'm probably going to do that probably over the weekend. Yeah, man, Warner Brothers fucked the pooch on that one, but it's because they wanted to rush it out. But
well, it says that it should be ready by the end of October. It says that they've made significant performance improvements to the game, but it says they're continuing to work on the additional updates that were outlined in the previous. And then they're saying that they should have the DLC ready for it too. So, like I said before, I'm gonna get the Game of the Year edition when it drops.
Yeah, that'll be worth it then for sure.
Because then everything will be all tweaked and fixed. And the only other thing I thought that was kind of interesting is the Avengers Infinity War. That they dropped that it's going to have a $1 billion production budget.
Jesus Christ.
For the part 1 and 2. Well, it's rumored, but it's, I wouldn't doubt it. That's, if you break it down, it's like $500 million per half. And then you got to consider how much you're going to have to pay, like Robert Downey Jr. if he's going to be in it, or, Chris Evans, or all those guys. So, which I can't see why they wouldn't be in it. At least part 1.
It'll be nuts. It'll totally be.
It's gonna be crazy. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. So looking forward to that.
Unfortunately, I gotta wait till like 2019 or something.
Yeah, something fucking stupid like that.
Oh, it says well, not that. It's saying It's going to be shot back to back for 9 months in 2016.
Jesus Christ.
That's a long time for those actors to stay in character.
That's like Hobbit/Matrix production values, or like production lengths, or even like Harry Potter. There wasn't a very big break between movies either. So,
well, and it says that the part 1's going to come out in 2018, and then part 2's going to come out in 2019. So that gives them a couple years to edit it.
It's going to be good though. I'm so looking forward to see what Marvel has planned with their stuff. Like I said, with DC, I'm kind of interested. I'll go anyway, but I would give more of a shit about Marvel than I ever have about DC. But that's a conversation we've had endless times on this show.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't really see anything that's pertinent for bringing up.
Nope. Other than I guess the only thing I really have to announce is, as I mentioned on Twig before, my Twig studio computer died, so I am in the process of rebuilding it. So gladly accepting donations because I have a target number of $700 to rebuild this thing. But
Ouch.
that means I lost almost everything that was recorded in August and early September. So I lost about 4 botched rolls. So I got to record those hopefully in the next week or two. Definitely before Halloween. And obviously there'll be a lot more rads now that we're in Broketober. There'll probably be a pair of them over the weekend, depending. And yeah, Nerd News. Well, since this is airing on Friday, by the time you see this, it should be up later on tonight. So probably for your evening news hour. And yeah, it feels good to be back. We're going to be doing the topic show this month. We're going to do it with the angry video game nerd himself, James Rolfe. We'll be talking about the Evil Dead franchise. So that should be a lot of fun.
Nice. So, all right. Sounds good. So, you can check out all the various stuff that I've got on geekcastradio.com. Like I said, there's a top 100 in the works. Expect news on that soon, as well as the GCRN Wars and top 10s for the Star Wars franchise. And stay tuned to the podcast. And if you have any questions or comments, send them to @Altered Geek. And you can get a hold of me on Twitter @SCP21. And you, sir?
I am @Birdman Dodd on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
So thank you as always for joining us for this rather unorthodox version of Altered Geek. So until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.
Blanche's gonna get it on! All night long! I don't know. He wants...
It's like a chance in a lifetime. I've been trying to get her to work for 2 months now.
And Steve, because he wants... Say it with me now.
Jackasses.
Please tell me you got all that. Oh, fucking A. Please
That's
hide
why
that shit at the end.
You went rogue, now look at us, having it out in the comment section.
Dude, you've turned into a monster.
You made me this way.